at some point I'm going to be releasing a video about how I made these panels in the background. Hi, Kenji here, and today we are going to be going into my full review of the Zoom F2 field recorder. Now before we jump into it, do me a favor. If you want to pick up one of these field recorders, please use my affiliate link. Amazon didn't tell me until after I signed up that you need to actually have a minimum number of people that actually purchase things from your affiliate links before they actually cancel your account. So, hey, if you're gonna pick one of these up, please use that link. It really helps me out a lot. I'm trying to hit that minimum number of purchases. And at the very end of this video, in my conclusion, I am gonna be going into a side-by-side comparison between how this recorder actually did versus the GoPro Hero 7 Black. And it was actually in my shop when I was actually using a heavy piece of machinery, and you will actually hear the side-by-side comparison between how my voice sounds from the GoPro mics versus this guy right here. So definitely stay tuned to the end of the video for that. Now let's go ahead and jump into some of the details about this. Something that I'm not going to do is I'm not going to be going over every single item that is inside the package, because I actually have a unboxing video where I actually open up the box and I go through everything that is inside the package. So I'm not really going to go into that. I am going to quickly say that it comes with this over here field recorder, and also comes with this lav mic right here. So it does come with those two things, but if you want to see the full details of all the package contents, go ahead and watch the unboxing video. I'll probably have a link toward the end of the video with that. So let's go ahead and first talk about the details of this. This over here is a $150 field recorder. And the thing that makes this thing pretty different from a lot of field recorders out there is the fact that this is a 32-bit field recorder. Most of them are only 24-bit. So what does that actually mean? That actually means that a lot of times when you are using field recorders or actually any sort of mic, you always need to make sure that you set your gain properly. Otherwise, you're going to end up peaking, which basically means that your voice hits the very top end that the mic can actually record, and or should I say your recording equipment can actually record, and then after that, your voice just sounds completely terrible. So that's what they call when you are peaking. Now, with a 32-bit recorder, you probably won't run into any sort of situation where you will be peaking. So regular voiceovers and stuff like that, you don't have to worry about setting your gain. And that's something that they actually say about this particular field recorder, is that you don't have to set the gain on this. It automatically sets, and with 32-bit recordings, you actually have a lot of headroom, so you're not going to really run into peaking a lot. Now, I did mention that this is a $150 recorder. They also have a Bluetooth version that is $199. So for an extra $50, you can basically get the Bluetooth version of it. I didn't really feel that I needed it, and I didn't feel like messing with apps and all this other stuff. So hey, I just wanted to save $50, and so I just got this guy right here, which is the non-Bluetooth version of it. Now, the size of this guy over here is 2.25 inches wide, and it is 1.8 inches tall, and it's 0.9 inches deep. And the weight of this is 32 grams. So this guy over here is extremely tiny, and it's super lightweight. The thing that like I definitely noticed when I first pulled it out of the package in my unboxing video was actually how small and how light this is. Even with the two batteries inside of it, this thing is still really light, and I barely even feel it on me when I actually have it clipped to my belt. So the other thing is it also comes with this lav mic over here. The actual cable length on this is I think 5 feet 3 inches, and it comes with 3 of these little windscreens as well. And the actual cable on the lav mic over here is a locking screw cable. So that is something to definitely note about this particular lav mic. And it also comes with this little clip as well, so you can basically clip it to your shirt and stuff like that. So something about this is that the way it actually records everything is onto a micro SD card. and that actually you can actually input the or sorry, not input, but you can actually put the micro SD card inside the bottom little slot over here, and then you can just close it back up. So it takes a micro SD card, and you can put a card that is up to, I think, 512 gigabytes inside here. I think I only have a 64 gigabyte card inside here, but that was actually plenty for the recording that I did. This thing has 3 LEDs on it. The first top one right over here is the input LED, and then the one below that is the battery LED. You know what? If I actually turn this on right now, you can probably actually see them. So you actually have the battery one that's blinking green right now, and then right above that is the input one. And then over here, it's really hard to see, but it's right above the off switch right over here. That one is actually the recording LED. So it'll tell you when it's actually recording. And if I actually maybe hit this button, actually you can see right there. So if I hit the record button on there, you can actually see that the LED is right there, right on top. And since I don't have a mic inside there, you can't actually see the input. But if I now plug in the mic, you can now see that there is a input LED right there. So right there, and I'm gonna go ahead and turn that off. Now the buttons on here, there's only 5 buttons. There is, of course, the big red record button, so that allows you to start and stop recording. And then on the bottom row over here, they have a stop and a play button. And that is for when you want to play back the last recording. You can basically hit play over here, and it will automatically start playing the last recorded clip, and then you could stop it. And then the 2 buttons above that is actually for the playback volume. Now, of course, you're probably thinking, like, how do I actually monitor that? And that is actually through these top jacks over here. So they have a jack for the input, which is the one right over here. And then they have the jack for the output, which goes into your headphones. And both of these are actually locking jacks. So they have the little threads on there that allows you to be able to lock headphones into it. Now, let's go back to the buttons for one more second. There's also a little switch right over here that allows you to turn it off and on. So if I switch it all the way up, then it is now going to be off. And then you could basically rotate it down so it's on. And then after that, you can actually push it all the way down, which is hold. And what the hold does is it makes it so that if you basically press the record button, it actually doesn't do anything. All it does is basically flashes that little record LED, but it doesn't actually start recording. And if you were actually to start recording, so if I go into the on position now and I hit record, so you can see that's recording now. Now if I actually push this little switch down to the hold position, and if I were to hit that record button again to stop the recording, it won't actually stop it. So that's what the hold little switch does. So now I can actually stop it and then turn it off. So that is kind of a little feature right there, is that it does have this little rotating switch over here that and it does actually protect the record button from actually getting hit, and then you actually end up stopping the recording. Now on the back over here, we actually have a belt clip, and it's made out of metal. So this also takes 2 AAA batteries, and you can access that by basically just taking this front little part over here and slipping it off the front. And sometimes it's a little tough to get off, but then once you get it off right there, now you can see that it has 2 AAA batteries, which you can basically find at any sort of CVS or any store you go to. And then you just put the front cover right back on, and it slips in, clips in place, and it's going to hold it very securely at that point. The last couple stats are that on 2 regular alkaline AAA batteries, you can actually get 15 hours of use with this field recorder. And if you were to record straight, this thing can actually record for 14 hours straight on 2 AAA alkaline batteries. Now your mileage might vary a little bit from battery to battery, and also I think it's going to vary a little bit if you are using some rechargeable batteries. But with just regular alkaline, you can get 14 hours of recording time and 15 hours of use. So the 15 hours of use is also probably includes playing and stopping, and also just, you know, having this on without actually recording anything. And then the last thing is that the types of files that this actually records is WAV files. It's not MP3s, it's WAV files. And it's probably because you can actually get the full 32-bit recordings with waves. I'm not exactly sure why. Maybe if someone knows why WAV files versus MP3s, please throw it down in the comments. I'm sure it's just for higher quality files. But I just wanted to let you know that this does record in WAV files, not MP3s. So let's go ahead and jump into some of the goods and some of the bads of this, and then I'll give you my final conclusion about whether I think you should pick this guy up or not. So let's go ahead and talk about the first good thing. The first thing that I probably want to say that is really good about this is the sheer size of this. I mean, this is seriously a very, very tiny recorder, and I love how light and small this is. I was recording in my shop for probably about over 2 hours doing a woodworking video, and this was clipped on my pocket, and this thing, like, I didn't even feel it on me because it is so light and it is so small. So that is something that I really appreciated about this guy. The second thing is that this is a 32-bit recorder. I really liked that this is 32-bit. Like, when I actually want to use one of these field recorders, I really don't want to have to mess with gains and all this other stuff. I just want to just capture my voice in a high quality way without having to worry about fiddling with a bunch of stuff. I just want to basically plug my mic inside there, put it on my collar of my shirt, and just start recording and just trust that it's gonna, you know, get all my voice and not be peaking and things like that. That is really what I'm looking for out of a field recorder. You might be looking for something slightly different, but for me and for my purposes, I just wanted something that is just super easy to use. So with 32-bit, that actually allowed me to get this and not really have to worry about that at all. Now, the next thing that I thought was really good was that they included basically having the threaded input and output jacks. And also that the mic actually also was a locking mic with the screw on here. Because something that I would never want to happen is I'm in there, you know, like in my studio or someplace else, and I'm actually recording something, and I'm sitting there recording for an hour, and then I realized that my jack from my microphone had incidentally just pulled out of the slot. And I was actually recording nothing for that entire time. So the fact that they have locking input jacks and also a output jack is actually really, really good, and I'm really happy that they did that. The next thing that I thought was really, really good about this was the very minimalistic design that they did with all the buttons. As I said before, there's only 5 buttons on here. There's a play, a stop, the volume up, volume down, and then there is the record button. That is it. And I really like that because the button layout is very easy to understand. I didn't even have to read the manual to figure out how do I record something or how do I play something back. You know, just everything is just laid out nicely, and it's just easy to use. I really like not having to study a manual to figure out how to use this properly, because that's not really what I'm looking for when it comes down to a field recorder for myself right now. Now, the only thing that I'm going to say is that I kind of wish that they gave the ability to choose which clip that I'm actually playing back, because you can only basically choose the last recorded clip, because when you hit play, it just chooses the last clip and then replays it. After that, you basically have to pull the file onto your computer to actually replay some of those previous clips. So there really is no way to actually choose previous ones, but maybe that goes into the bad category. But anyway, that's probably just one of these things where with the minimalistic design, that's something that they just had to sacrifice. But hey, if they can improve that inside of a firmware update, I would actually love that, to be able to, you know, press some button combination to go back and forth between the different clips. That'd be kind of nice. Now let's go ahead and talk about the next thing that I think was really, really nice. The LEDs on here are actually really, really good. The battery one, of course, it changes color from green to yellow to orange to red. You know, like as you basically start running that out of battery. So it's good that they actually have some sort of indicator on there. The second thing is the input LED over here. It actually kind of like flashes whenever it detects something coming in on the mic. So as you can see, well, I don't have a recording, but if I actually start the recording, then what basically happens is if I then start the recording, and now if you notice that there's really nothing coming in on the actual input LED. But as soon as I put the mic in over here, now you start seeing it. And it goes off and on as it detects things on the mic. So that's actually a really nice indicator that it is picking up your voice. So I really appreciated that regarding the input LED. Now the last LED that I really like a lot is the power LED. Actually, I probably shouldn't have stopped recording. So this power LED is really, really nice for something that you may not have thought about right off the bat. So when I had this on my belt, something that I thought about when I was looking at it was whether it was recording. The fact that so like it's really hard to see, but I'm gonna try to hold it at the right angle over here. Right there. Okay, so as you can see, the actual bevel right here, it's an angled bevel. It's not just a straight up and down. And they put the LED on that actual angled bevel. And the fact that they did that was actually really, really good, like, because they were actually thinking ahead on that. Because they have a single LED that they can use to show that you are actually recording. That can be seen from the front. You can see, and you can also see it from the top. So when this is on your belt, you can basically see only the top. And like on some field recorders that only have an LED on the front, you can't tell that it's actually recording unless you actually kind of like pull your belt up and like stare at the front of the actual recording, or sorry, of the actual recorder. But on this, you don't have to. You can just look down, and from the top side of this recorder, you can actually see that it is actually recording. So they were thinking ahead when they put that one LED on that angled bevel, so you can see it from both directions, from the front and from the top. The third thing that I liked a lot, or maybe not the third, it was, I don't know what number I'm on right now, but the next thing that I really like a lot is the fact that this has a metal belt clip. This is a nice durable clip over here. It is very, very stiff. So you can actually put this on your pocket and it's definitely not gonna fall off at all. And the next thing that I really liked a lot is the fact that this actually has a hold switch on here. So I don't have to worry about by mistake, bumping a table and then I actually hit the stop record button and then I end up losing like a ton of my audio just because I by mistake bumped up against something. So the fact that this has a hold switch on here, I think is actually a really good design, and I'm really glad that they included that. Now, something that I wasn't sure of when I did the unboxing video was whether this particular USB port over here was a micro USB or what. This is a USB-C input jack, and I do like that it is a USB-C because that means that I can use, of course, a USB-C connector, which can be reversed either way. Like I think pretty much the entire industry is moving kind of towards USB-C, so the fact that they went in that direction as well also makes me very, very happy. Now, with that USB-C, the nice thing is that I don't actually need to remove the micro SD card. I guess it doesn't have anything to do with the fact that this is USB-C, but something that is really nice about this recorder is that I don't have to take out the micro SD card in order to get the files off this recorder. All you have to do is basically take a USB-C cord, plug this into here, plug it into my computer, make sure that this is actually on, and then after that, it will pop up on my computer as an external drive, and then I can just pull the WAV files directly from that onto my computer, and then I'm good to go. So that basically means that the micro USB card that I have, not micro USB, the micro SD card that I have inside here is actually one card that I just stick inside there and I just leave it inside there. I don't have to bother taking it out or doing anything like that. You just stay inside there pretty much permanently until the card basically crashes, and then I have to put a new card inside there. So that's actually really nice that I don't have to keep popping that thing in and out. Now, the second to last thing that I really like about this is the file numbering. They actually went with a very intuitive way to name all their files. What they went with was a 2-digit year, then 2-digit month, and then 2-digit day, then an underscore, and then the file number, which is a 3-digit file number. And it starts out at 001, then 002, and it keeps going up until the end of the day, and then after that, it basically just rolls over to the next day, and then you go back to 001 again. So it's a very intuitive way to name all their files, and it makes it so that when you organize all your files inside of like Windows Explorer or something like that, and you organize it by name, it's also going to organize it by date as well, because it's going to organize everything in order from like the earliest recording all the way to the latest recording. So it's good that they just didn't give it some like random name and stuff like that. Something that kind of annoys me a little bit is how GoPro does their naming scheme. It makes a little bit of sense once I look at it, but it's definitely not intuitive at all. But the file numbering, the file naming scheme that they use inside this recorder is actually very, very good. And the last thing that I really like about this is that this particular recorder over here takes AAA batteries. It doesn't add a ton of weight to it because AAAs aren't the heaviest batteries out there. But they are extremely easy to find almost anywhere, and you get a good 15 hours of use and 14 hours of recording off this. So I really love the fact that they went with AAA batteries and not some like watch battery or something like that. Like standard batteries that are easy to find and almost anyone has is always a very, very good choice. And thanks Zoom for doing that. All right, now let's actually go on to the things that I don't like about this recorder. This list is a lot shorter, I will tell you, than the list of things that I do like a lot about it. So the things that I don't like. The first thing is the file time syncing. I basically loaded up the utility on my computer so I can actually get the correct timestamp on this recorder. So that way, whenever I record things, it actually has the right date and time on there. So I basically use that. It's just a small little utility that basically is loaded on your computer, and then you take the USB cable, plug in, turn on the recorder, and then it detects it, and then you can set all the settings on it. So they have a time and date syncing button on there. So what I did was I basically hit the button to sync the time and date, and then what I did was I then I started the recorder, and then what I did is I basically checked the name of the file as well as the timestamp on the file. Now, when I first did my recordings without actually doing the time and date sync, I wanted to see whether it actually came from the factory already preset, but it didn't. So all my previous files that I recorded the very first time I fired this guy up, they all had the date of January 26th of 2020. And the time I think was completely off too. But then after I did the time sync on it, and then I recorded I keep wanting to say video, but but the next time that I recorded a clip, the date was then correctly set to January 1st, which was when I recorded the video. But the time was 2 hours off. And in the actual software that they use to sync the actual time and date, there's no way to basically set some sort of time zone or anything like that. So that pretty much means that until that like utility gets updated, I'm basically stuck with my timestamps on my files being 2 hours off. Is it really a big deal? Not really. It was just something that I noticed, and I don't know. Maybe they can fix that. Maybe they can't, but it's really not that big of a deal. But I did want to bring it up as kind of something that was a little bit weird and not really on the good list, right? Now this might sound weird, but this is the last thing that is on my bad list. Yeah, surprising that there's only two things that I didn't really like about this. And actually, before we jump into that, let me first of all say that I bought this with my own money. I didn't actually get sponsored by Zoom or anything like that. I basically bought this guy with my own money. I pre-ordered it, and then I waited until it finally got sent out to me. I probably had to wait maybe like about a month. But I'm basically giving you my honest opinion because I'm not being sponsored at all. So the last thing that I wasn't the biggest fan of with this recorder is the actual lav mic that came with it. Now, when I say that, let me give you the caveat. If you actually watched my unboxing video, during that video, I basically kept swapping back and forth between the audio of this lav mic over here recorded on the Zoom recorder, and then my actual large condenser mic, which is, sorry about the mic sound, this guy right here. So this is a large condenser mic, and it is phantom powered into a USB interface that is going into my computer. Now the thing is that in that video, I was basically going back and forth between the audio. So if you want to hear basically the sound of me talking, and it keeps switching between my normal mics over here and then the lav mic, you will definitely notice a big difference between the two. And I definitely prefer the sound on my larger phantom power microphone. But that doesn't necessarily mean that this lav mic is bad. I just wanted to just let you know that in my personal preference, this lav mic over here sounds a little bit boxy to me. And it's one of these things where maybe down the road I might end up picking up a different lav mic if it really starts to bother me. But this is really like one of those kind of nitpicky things like on the bad list, because this is really not a bad microphone. It just sounds different from my regular mics, and even with like using different EQs and stuff like that, I couldn't actually make it sound exactly like my regular mic, so I couldn't match the audio perfectly. At the same time, could I really expect to actually have a lav mic sound exactly like a large capsule condenser mic? Probably not. So that could be an unrealistic expectation. So definitely take my opinion that I'm not the biggest fan of this mic to be, just take that opinion with a grain of salt. It's definitely not a bad mic at all, and you can actually hear my actual recordings in my unboxing video. And then also at the end of this video, you're gonna actually hear this guy right here in a very, very noisy environment as I recorded with it, and it actually did a really good job with that. So I'm not saying that this is a super bad mic. This just sounds like a little bit boxy, and like I just wanted you to know that like don't expect to actually have like the normal sound that comes out of my bigger large capsule condenser mic. Don't expect it to get that same sort of sound out of this particular lav mic. All right, so let's go ahead and talk about my conclusion about this particular field recorder over here. This guy over here is a very good field recorder. I definitely like it a lot. It has a lot of really great attributes on it. And when I actually tested this guy out, I tested him out inside of my wood shop, doing a video where I built actually these acoustic panels back here that have the LED lights around it. Those 4 squares over there, those are acoustic panels, and I built that in my shop. And I wanted to actually record the sound of me kind of going through how to make it. And this thing performed really, really well. What I want to do is I want to quickly cut to a video where you will see basically a comparison between how it sounds with the regular mics on a GoPro Hero 7 Black compared to the lav mic with this Zoom F2 recorder over here. Now, let me tell you a little bit about what was going on at the time when I recorded that. So I was at my table saw, and I have a huge 1 3/4 horsepower dust collector. This thing has like a huge motor on it. It is extremely loud, and it is right next to the table saw. Now, that's Now, like that particular dust collector was going while I was trying to give like an explanation about like measuring something out. And when you actually hear the recording on the GoPro Hero 7 Black, you're gonna notice that my voice is there, but it is definitely probably getting drowned out pretty well by the sound from the dust collector. Then right after that, I'm gonna show the exact same clip with the actual lav mic and this particular field recorder, because I of course had this on recording and at the same time that I was recording with the GoPro, and then I basically just sync the audio. And I normally just throw away the actual audio that is on the camera because it is absolutely terrible. I basically use it purely to just sync up the audio between my external device and the video. But after I get the sound sync between my external recording and the video, I basically completely throw away the actual audio track from the camera. Now, in this case, I actually kept this one little part of it because I wanted you to hear the big difference between what it sounds like when you record with the GoPro Hero 7 Black versus recording with this. And it is a dramatic difference. So let's go ahead and cut to that really quick, and you will see exactly what I'm talking about. All right, so let's go. Right now, I'm resetting my stop lock. Now I move it and then hit it up against the stop lock very gently. Then I check that my blade is still set correctly. Now this looks good. All right, 16.5 inches, double check. Always good to double check. 16.5 inches. Good. All right, here we go. So right now I'm resetting my stop lock. Now I move it and then hit it up against the stop lock very gently. And then I check that my blade is still set correctly. All right, this looks good. All right, 16.5 inches, double check. Always good to double check. 16.5 inches. That's good. All right, here we go. All right, so I'm sure that if you basically listened to that, you would have noticed a huge difference no matter what you are listening on. That like there's a huge difference between the GoPro Hero 7 Black and this particular field recorder. So I just wanted you to have that as a data point right there. So my final thoughts on this are that you should definitely get one of these guys. If you are looking for some sort of like field recorder so you don't have to keep using the mic like on your camera, getting something like this is actually a very good buy. Something to keep in mind is that when you do actually have one of these things and you are recording with it, you are going to have to sync up the audio between your actual camera audio and the external audio that you are recording on this. But it takes like probably about maybe one minute, maybe 30 seconds to actually sync that up inside of something like DaVinci Resolve or Premiere or something like that. So it's not hard at all to do, and that like the big jump that you get in the quality of your audio on your videos is just going to be tremendous, that I don't think that you should ever skip that step. So definitely consider getting one of these things. Sometimes people use the wireless lav mics, like the Rode Wireless Go and stuff like that, and I did look into that. But then once I figured out how easy it was to actually sync up audio inside post-processing, I decided, you know what, it's probably just better to get like a decent field recorder and a mic versus trying to go with another solution where I'm trying to get a wireless lav system to actually send the recording over to like another device. So that is why I decided to go with this instead of like the Rode Wireless Go. So if you have any questions about this, definitely throw them down in the comments. I would be happy to get back to you about it. And don't forget to like and subscribe. It really helps out this channel a lot. I'm trying to grow my numbers of subscribers, so that really helps. And hey, until the next unboxing or next review, take care.